Okay, what we got here is a late 60s, early 70s Ludwig Phase 2 synthesizer. Pretty cool little unit. They made about 1,000 of these things originally, and apparently there's only about 50 of them left around. As you can see, there's lots of little bright colors and lights and buttons on all over this. It was originally not even intended as a guitar effect, but more as an interface between any kind of audio signal and an analog synthesizer. Down here we've got 4 buttons and a control pedal. What I've done is I've just hooked up a basic Fender Strat to a couple amplifiers. We've got a 60s Epiphone and a Fender Hot Rod Deluxe. So we've got 2 signals going out. This does have the ability to work in stereo, so right now it's in bypass mode, so nothing's being done. Just a clean signal out to the Fender amp. And if I hit the stereo button, then what happens? Now we're getting a stereo signal, so 2 signals going out. So there'll be a dry signal out on stereo over to the Epiphone amp, and there'll be a synthesized signal going over to the Fender. And you can blend them down here, so if you want a lot more of the synthesized, you can have that, or if you want a lot more clean, you can do that. So there's controls. Then what you've got over on the right-hand side, I'll take off the bypass so we can hear the effects. We've got a button for fuzz, and we got a button for animation. The fuzz is a real 60s, kind of a ratty, high treble-y sounding fuzz. And I'll take off the clean signal so you can just really hear it. So again, real ratty, real treble-y sounding fuzz. You've got some controls over here so you can back it off on this here and you can turn it back up. There's fuzz, and then there's also voice fuzz, which gives it a little bit of a different effect. Some of the controls on here are wired in series as well instead of parallel. So over on when you get into the synthesized signal, if you turn on switch A, I'll take off the fuzz for a second and turn on the animation. Okay, you'll get a sound out of this one here, almost like a talking sound. If you turn any of these other ones on, it doesn't do anything because it's wired in series. You have to turn this one off, and then you get this one on. Get a little bit of a wah-wah sound. And then we'll go to the vowel, which is almost a little more pronounced. And your control pedal is basically like a wah-wah pedal. As you crank it up, you get a lot more trebly sound. A lot of control with that. You can almost make the guitar talk with it. And basically this unit, if you want to hear one of these being used on a recording, Sonic Youth has a song out called the Diamond C. It's a very distinct sound. If you really want to hear what one of these sounds like in recording, that'll give you a good example. But anyways, I'll turn a couple of the buttons on and off just so you can see that everything's working. So again, bypass. In this case, unlike a normal bypass signal, when the light is on, it means you're actually bypassing as opposed to normal units. So we're sending our signal through right now bypassed. There's stereo, so we're going up to both. So back to the 1 amp. Turn off the bypass. You've got fuzz. Okay. And different controls on the top. You've got controls for intensity of the frequency modulation. You've got controls for the rate. I'll take the fuzz off so you can really hear it a lot better. Let's give it some effect. You can hear they're getting faster and slower. Okay. And then you've got intensity of the fuzz repeat over on this side. And some other controls here where you can control whether it's a fuzz repeat or a frequency modulation or both. Okay, and then there's a fast start and a slow start, which basically when you hit the strings, the effect either comes in right away or comes in slightly afterwards. Okay. So some of the different sounds. If you get it right in the middle, you start to get this sort of trademark yowie 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 sound, which is the sound that the Phase 2 is really well known for. And again, if you listen to the Sonic Youth song, you're going to hear that exact effect right at the beginning. And the pedal itself will work, if you don't get too much into the animation, the pedal itself can work in a lot of ways just like a regular wah-wah pedal. But anyways, point of the whole video is mostly just to show that the unit is in full working order. There's two inputs for a low input and a high input. There's a balance, so you can balance that signal as well. Not really applicable for use with guitar, but if you're running multiple signals, that's important. And then again, on the outside, going out, you've got two outputs for stereo, and you have a control of balance there as well. And about the only thing that this is missing is one of the mushroom cap knobs on the bypass switch. The other three are all there, and if you know anything about these things, they are like hen's teeth to try and replace. So to find one even that's got three on it is actually pretty rare. And that's it. That's the Ludwig Phase 2 synthesizer. Enjoy.